because we got to see him during the A-Day. We saw Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson. Dylan Lonergan, I thought, played pretty well. Eli Holstein played pretty well. Those two freshmen, I think, are going to take a back seat to this battle right now. And Jalen Milroe and Ty Simpson, I think, without question, are the two guys you talk about when it comes to who could be the starter for Alabama when it comes to game one. So to preface this whole conversation, for Alabama fans, got good news and got bad news. Now, just me being who I am, I prefer to have the bad news first so I can be excited about the good news and have a better feeling about myself, getting the good news second. So we'll start with the bad news. The bad news is obvious, and that's Bryce Young has gone to the NFL. Okay? So that was the bad news, and bad news that you already knew about. The good news is you're not going to be playing a style of offense where your quarterback needs to be Superman, and that wasn't the case last year. Bryce Young was like the eraser for the mistakes on the offense a season ago. Miss a block, all good. Bryce can get the ball out of his hands quick. Hey, we got a free runner. No worries. Bryce is agile. He's athletic. He can make a miss and still make the play. That's not going to be the same kind of setup that Alabama tries to play this coming season. A lot of last year, they just put the ball in Bryce's hands and said, Bryce, go be special. And I'm oversimplifying this, obviously, but that was the way it felt when you watched Alabama a season ago. Now, this coming year, I think whoever ends up winning the job, whether it's Ty Simpson, whether it's Jalen Milroe, you'll need to be a leader, clearly. Need to be able to be a game manager. And game manager, you're kind of cringing. Saying a game manager is sort of just another way for saying you need to be an average quarterback and not try and do too much, right? Like that's probably how it sounds to you when you hear me talk about whoever's going to be a game manager. Part of that, I would say, is a fair observation to make. I don't think that's all the way true for the Alabama quarterback because whoever ends up being the Alabama quarterback, game manager is a part of it, but you need to be able to hit the open shot. Like I would think more J.J. McCarthy and less Jacob Coker, if you catch my drift. J.J. McCarthy, not to get too off track here, did a lot of things for Michigan last year where I don't know if they win some of those football games, especially the Ohio State football game, if he doesn't make the plays vertically that he makes. And when I say open shot, I just mean we're going to run the football at you. So when those receivers get open, got to hit them. Got to hit them because we don't get too many more shots of that if we miss deep. And Michigan, to their credit, did that multiple times against Ohio State. So the formula for Bama is going to be old Bama. And some of y'all are starting to perk up a little bit now that we said old Bama. You say, okay, I like old Bama. Old Bama won a lot of national titles. Yes, they did. Now, the good news for Bama fans, that formula of old Bama is kind of like playing bully ball, but also being balanced and throwing the football well and also playing good defense. That's the kind of formula that teams are using to win right now. At one point in time, it was, let's score 60, try and catch us. Shout out Joe Burrow and LSU. I think the game has lent itself a little bit more now to that balanced style of football that Alabama used to play. So you still have the vertical passing game, but it's going to be very much in an effort to impose your will physically on the opposition. So that's going to be Bama. The balance is going to be what wins. And the quarterback position is going to be a part of that balance. Do not get it twisted. Really quickly, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and on Instagram at JDPakel. With that out of the way, we'll keep this thing moving. So the spring game. Let's talk about that because that's really the only sample size we have in a public fashion for this battle as it pertains to 2023. We saw Jalen Milroe a season ago. I don't know that we saw his best. In fact, I know we didn't see his best based on what we saw in the spring game. There's plenty of ugly to go around from the spring football game. Right? I mean, Ty Simpson made some poor decisions. Jalen Milroe threw 2 picks. Heck, they got Jalen Milroe tagged for 7 sacks. Now, Jalen Milroe, I don't know if y'all have seen the clip of him hang cleaning. I don't know if you're getting him on the ground 7 times in that spring game, but hey, it is what it is. But my encouraging thing I would say about this spring game is from my thought process with viewing Ty Simpson and Jalen Milroe, I went from can they? Can they make the throw downfield? Can they create with their legs the way that we need them to and then be able to push the ball downfield off of that extended play? To will they? Will they do it? Will they do it consistently? And those are 2 very different conversations to come from. Because if it's a can they make that play, we're probably going to the portal, right? If I'm questioning your ability, I need to go get somebody that can get it done for us. Because at Alabama, the standards are way the heck up here, right? National title, SEC title. we don't lack ability at Alabama. That's just the reality. So now going from a will they conversation, now you say, okay, instead of going to the portal, we're going to the practice field. We're going to the film room. I got some ability in this room. We're going to get every single ounce out of it. Because when I saw Jalen Milroe throw that back shoulder throw to Law over the corner in front of the safety, I saw Ty Simpson create with his legs and make some nice throws and have it get dropped. I believe it was Jermaine Burton who dropped one of his passes off of an extended play. No knock on Jermaine Burton. What I'm telling you is I saw flashes. And there's inevitable amount of sloppiness that just comes with a spring football game, especially when you got quarterbacks that are splitting reps with the ones. It's going to happen. I don't know that you leave that game, or you should leave that game, rather, watching that game, as dejected as maybe some of these Bama fans might. Because what you're going to see is the stat line that looked a little bit lackluster, and you're going to see all the incompletions, and you're going to see all the interceptions, but there's more to it than what meets the eye. My biggest encouragement, the ability. We saw that from both these cats, all right? So be excited if you're an Alabama fan. There's more to this than what meets the eye. Now, the style that Bama wants to play, as I already said, it's going to be complementary. So let me tell you what's going to happen here when we get to the fall. Whether it's Ty Simpson or Jalen Milroe, drop back to pass, and let's say they get sacked. There's going to be a lot of people quick to say, man, Jalen Milroe has no pocket presence. Or, man, Ty Simpson, this game is way too fast for him. He can't do it. I would say pause, take a deep breath, watch the tape, see what happened there. Before you blame the quarterback, you got to ask yourself this question. And I used a sack on the play as an example. But just overall, when you take the whole body of work for whoever ends up starting at Alabama, ask yourself the question, is everyone around the quarterback, offensive line, running backs, wide receivers, up to par for the expectation you have for the quarterback? Okay, because this offense, like we just talked about at the top of this segment, is going to be complementary football. What does that mean? The quarterback, for him to do his job, we're asking the running back and the offensive line to move the line of scrimmage. For the quarterback to do his job, we're asking receivers to finish plays. Saw far too many drops in that spring football game, to be honest. And we're asking them to win outside. And that's the reason why the buzz around Malik Benson, the number one JUCO transfer wide receiver in the country, number one JUCO transfer player in the country, quite frankly, that's why there's so much buzz around him. Because he kind of fits that alpha dog wide receiver prototype that you like to see. Can run like the wind, made a couple of nice catches during the spring football game, really had that one drive that made you say, okay, that's why we're excited about that guy. I believe it was him and Jalen Milroe. 4 plays in a row. 4 catches from Malik Benson. The 4th one was a touchdown where he separates over the corner, says, give me that little boy. Like, that's the kind of excitement, that's the kind of ability you need at wide receiver. And Malik Benson, I think, will supply that. I think he's one of the most slept-on wide receivers in the country right now. Our little secret right here. You can talk about it at the water cooler. But what I'm saying is the quarterback position, it's going to be extremely important, but it's going to be very dependent on the variables around them to be successful. And that's not me making excuses for Jalen Milroe. It's not me making excuses for Ty Simpson. I just want to make sure we are crystal clear on the expectation for whoever wins that job. Now, who's going to win that job? I think it's going to go into fall camp, as you and I probably both expected. But if I had to pick somebody today, man, the playmaking ability of Jalen Milroe, if I had to pick somebody today, April, 24th, I'd have a hard time going against Jalen Milroe right now. We had Greg McElroy on the show not too long ago, and he said, listen, Jalen Milroe at the quarterback position might be the best athlete with the ball in his hands. So I want him touching the ball every single play to keep it a buck. So Jalen Milroe's legs and what I saw with him within this offense on the spring game, I'd give him my vote today. But hey, it's going to go into the fall. Whoever wins this one is going to win based on merit because these guys are going to have a dogfight for the QB1 spot. But whoever wins the battle, make sure you ask yourself, do they have everybody else around them playing to the same expectation that I'm holding this quarterback to? Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.